Yes, come on, get in there. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to WD18, the Watford fan channel. It's finished Birmingham City 0, Watford 1. It's that man, Troy Deeney, the Blue Nose, comes up with a penalty, scores the winning goal. I am buzzing with that. Often the games where we don't play well, when you win, it feels even sweeter. Watford were they were awful for 60 minutes. Last 30 minutes, we grew into the game. Troy had, two golden opportunities, particularly the first one. The second one was the header, and then the penalty, standing over it as well. And fair play to him, because I know he's expected to take the penalties, but certainly after the two chances he had to step up and put it away the way he did, emphatically, was brilliant. And it's a massive, massive win for Watford. As I said to you before, we did not play well for 60 minutes. But we've come away with a 1-0 win, and it's another 3 points to go onto the board. We now sit in fourth position, 33 points, and it was crucial that we did win today, because I think Norwich and Bournemouth both won. I think Bournemouth won emphatically against Huddersfield, and Norwich managed to pick up a win as well, and with Swansea winning. So it keeps us in the promotion pack. Yes, it was not a good performance overall, I think, and I think we could play a lot better, but we come away with the win. We come away with all 3 points away at St Andrews. Before we do get into a bit more depth about my thoughts, guys, if you do enjoy the video, please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to WD18, turn on your post notifications, and get in the live chat now. Let me know your thoughts on what was a big win for Watford. It sees us continue our chase for promotion, because if we'd dropped 2 points today, then it would have been, with Reading, Bristol City having a game in hand on us, it would have been really tight, and it still will be really tight, but it keeps us in that promotion pack, which is the main thing. So let me know your thoughts down in the live chat, and if you're watching this back, let me know in the comments what you make of the video and your thoughts on today's game. Where do we start? I'll tell you what, I'll give my just really, really brutally honest thoughts on that game. Watford were absolutely awful for 60 minutes. That first half was probably the worst half of the season. The goal, yes, great that we win the game. Fantastic. I am ecstatic that we won the game, of course. I want Watford to win every game. But that 45 minutes that we experienced in the first half was absolutely shocking. It was shocking. No shots on target. Yes, we have 53% possession. No shots on target. Did never at all in that first half look like creating anything. We were just completely passive, no movement in the midfield. Troy was completely isolated up front, and I couldn't really see it improving. And it didn't improve for the first 20 minutes of the first half, in all honesty. You know, there was, again, a lack of urgency to get on the ball. There was a lack of ideas. Now, yes, I believe it's the players who are responsible, of course, because they're the ones out there on the pitch, and Vladimirovic can only influence so much. But it was strange to me that he saw the first half, he saw the first 15, 20 minutes of the second half, and decided not to change anything. And I will give credit to Vladimirovic, because the change he made to bring on Stipe Perica was a game-changing one. He won the penalty, bursting into the box, targeting Pedersen, who we were linked with at one point, I believe. Sky, reported that we were linked for a left-back, and it was him in the Premier League. Stipe Perica made that run on the outside. Yes, it was a soft penalty, but it is a penalty, I think. I think Perica is going to ground, but the contact was made. I think it's a penalty. I probably wouldn't have had many complaints if it was the other way around. It was soft, but it was a penalty. And as I said, Troy stepped up and did the business and put it into not straight down the middle, just to the keeper's right. But it was a cracking penalty. And particularly, as I said, in the second half, we did grow into the game, I thought. Ben Wilmot played that brilliant ball, didn't he, over the top to Troy, who should have done better with his opportunity. Tried to lob Neil Etheridge. That didn't, unfortunately, work. And then the second chance he had, which was a header, great ball from Ken. So we had opportunities. And in the second half, we shaded it. If we're being completely honest, Birmingham didn't do a lot. They didn't. They were, I think, content with a point. And I thought the way we were playing, we were content with a point. And personally, I think it's different perspectives, because I think us as supporters know that first 60, 65 minutes wasn't good enough. And I think Ivic knows we can play better, but I think we would have come away unhappy if we had got a point because we played so poorly. But I think Ivic probably is thinking for the away games, we'll just pick up a point because our home form's so good. But a win's a win, and I don't yes, our performance was shocking for 65 minutes. Going forward, midfield and attack was really poor. But the back line was the big positive for me today. I think Ben Wilmot's potentially struggled a little bit from the lack of continuity in his position, because often he's playing at centre-back. He's playing at left centre-back, which doesn't... If you're playing a right-footed centre-back at left centre-back, then it's always a challenge for that person. Yes, they can adapt, but when they're driving out with the ball, it's difficult when you're playing on your weaker foot. Your weak foot has to be almost as good as your right foot for there not to be a difference. And that's nothing against Ben Wilmot, but his right foot is obviously a strong one, and he's struggling a little bit because we've moved him from right centre-back against QPR, left centre-back in the other games. We played at left-back, I think it was against Preston for 10 minutes, which I think was a good move to see how he's testing. So he's a young player who's been moved around a lot, and he's gonna have games where he doesn't play as well. And I don't think he played great today, but he will improve. And I think he's been one of our better players this season, particularly at the back. The standout for me, I don't think there's any debate about this. William Troost-Ekong is my man of the match. Rolls-Royce at the back today, absolutely class. And to be honest with you, he has grown into his role at Watford. I think it's taken him a few weeks to really establish himself. He's some solid performances, but I think today we saw the best of William Troost-Ekong. You know, Lukas Jukovic is a big boy, and I thought he dealt with him well today. And Birmingham's attack, yes, they weren't that maybe progressive, and they weren't maybe taking that many risks, but Troost-Ekong was just brilliant today, I thought. Absolutely brilliant. Man of the match for me, closely followed by Stipe Perica, who came on for the last 23 minutes. I can't take the smile off my face after that one. Stipe Perica with a really impactful performance. And I was a bit sceptical when he came on the right-hand side. And I thought, Ivic, what are you doing here? But what Perica offers you is a runner in behind. A forward who will break the last line of defence and break that line consistently. We saw it for the penalty. The way he bombed round Pedersen, won the penalty. He has to start. It's not even up for debate for me. Stipe Perica has to start in this Watford team. Go back to a 4-4-2. Play Troy and Stipe up top together. We know Troy is not great at playing on his own. That's not his fault, I don't believe. It's very difficult for any striker. You have to be an elite striker to play the one up top, playing a one up top. And he needs a partner. We know that. Every Watford fan knows it. He needs a partner. And Stipe is the man, I believe. And we saw against Rotherham, yes, it was a weaker opposition, but Stipe was so bright for me, so bright. And again, today he comes on, makes an impact. And yeah, he's got to be up there for man of the match, certainly. Troost-Ekong takes it, but Stipe a close second, and he was only on for 20 minutes and made such a big impact. But it is a massive, massive win for Watford. It was an interesting lineup, just going back onto it. Slightly negative, in all honesty, a 4-5-1, wasn't it? Or 4-2-3-1, however you want to look at it. When you play one up top in the Championship, I don't think we should be doing that, really. We should be playing a second striker. Stipe, I believe, is the person. Stipe Perica is the guy I believe we should be putting into the team. I think we can definitely drop a midfielder out of Chalobah, Cleverley and Garner. Drop one of those, play a 4-4-2, and Deeney and Stipe together. We've seen signs of it, and I believe they are good enough to do that. It was a bit of a shock to see two goalkeepers on the bench. The only explanation I can think of that is someone dropped out last minute and they had to put Adam Parks onto the bench. Kabasele, Sarr were both out injured. Cathcart Messina, Dele Bashiru successor, we know, are out as well. But there were two players missing through COVID. So yeah, will be interesting to see what happens with those two players. But overall, moving on to Brentford on Tuesday, it's a big test for Watford. Probably the biggest one we've had this season. Prior to it, I would have said Blackburn was probably the biggest test we've had, but Brentford are a top side, 2 points behind us, and would be, I think that's the biggest game so far this season, without a shadow of a doubt. Then closely, Norwich will be the next biggest game after that. But Brentford is a game where we have to stamp our authority on a top six challenging team. We have to play well for that one. If we play like we did for the first 65 minutes today, Brentford are a good enough team to beat us without a shadow of a doubt. So it's really, really important that we go with Ivic selects the right lineup. He makes the right changes. For me, he starts Paritza. I don't think that is, again, as I said, even up for debate because of what he offers to this Watford side. And the performance levels have to be improved. The lack of movement in the first 65 minutes in the midfield was particularly concerning. Real lack of creativity, imagination going forward. But I will give credit where credit's due. When in the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes, we really did step up our game. And not massive improvement, but we were looking to create more, is what I'll say. But a win's a win. As I said, 3 points on the board. We move up to 4th in the table. And going into a Brentford game on Tuesday night. I think it's Tuesday night, isn't it? It's a really, Tuesday, I think. Yeah, Tuesday night. A big test for Watford. We need to be winning that. And then you've obviously got Norwich and Swansea as well, who are up there. But we'll look ahead to that in a little while. Let's get your comments in the comment section. Absolutely buzzing that we managed to get a win there. Rudy, great to see you in the chat as always. Sam, who is obviously a regular on WD18, on the WD18 podcast. If we carry on playing like that, Jacob, can you see us going up? Was really, really poor today. No, if we play like we did in the first 65 minutes, we will not. I mean, we're grinding out results, which is the amazing thing for me, because that first 65 minutes, as you say, Sam, both teams were rubbish, in all honesty. But because we needed to go in and win it, we were particularly poor, obviously, from Watford perspective. But if we win our home matches and are picking up points on the road, it is very much possible that we go up in the way we're playing at the moment. Now, it's not particularly enjoyable to watch. I completely agree. But I saw a tweet from, I think it was Sam Streets on Twitter, and he had a message from a PAOK fan who Ivic used to manage at. And he basically said, Ivic will win you 1-0, 2-0 most weeks. And that is what we're seeing at the moment. We are seeing us grinding out results. And I think that's why they brought Ivic in all honesty, because yes, it's not the most attractive style of football, but we are picking up points and not playing great. And I think particularly at the moment with this Watford squad, we can play a lot better, but I think Ivic knows this is the way we're going to win football matches. And it's not pretty by any stretch, and it's not great fun to watch. But if we're picking up points and we get promoted at the end of the season, I can't really have any complaints. It's performances, not points, not performances at the moment. I do believe that this win certainly does paper over some of the cracks. The performance today, as I said multiple times, was not good enough for 65, 70 minutes. It did step up towards the back end, hence why we were looking more bright going forward, why Troy had those opportunities. Paritza obviously won the penalty. So I felt like in the second half we shaded it. Birmingham didn't test Foster once. Did Foster even have to make a save? Yes, they hit the post in the first half, but I'd argue there was quite a lot of luck involved in that. It was a scramble. It was a ball that came in. It could have gone anywhere. Yes, that could have gone in, but ultimately, I think in the second half we did shade it. And the first 65 minutes we were rubbish. We were poor, but we grew into the game in the second half, I thought, and managed to come away with 1-0 to the Watford away from home. Got to be happy with that, really. In the end, with the result. I've just seen a message from Carl Emil Arnoldson, Watford fan from Sweden here. Thank you so much for joining us, Carl Emil. Ben Chapman, 100%. Paritza has got to start now. Thought Paritza did well when he came on. Completely agree with that. Rudy, Will says, just woke up so boring. It wasn't a great watch, was it? But it's another 3 points on the board. Awful performance, but it's 3 points. Completely agree with you, Andrew. It wasn't a fantastic performance, was it? Probably, I think the first half was the worst half this season. But we managed to come away with 3 points, and ultimately that is the main thing. You know, you can't really argue with. I was surprised that Ivic didn't make his subs earlier, but I can't really. If we're winning games and like we are at the moment, you can't really complain, I guess, because we are picking up points and it's not enjoyable to watch. It's nowhere near as enjoyable as we've seen in the Championship before. But if we get promoted in the way we're playing at the moment, I will not be complaining. But if we don't pick up results and we play like we did today, then ultimately, yes, there's problems there. And I do feel like the results are papering over the cracks of the performances, no shadow of a doubt. But it's another 3 points on the board. Olmac 2004, 70 minutes until our first shot, 4 after them, but still not good enough. Agree with you there, buddy. Elliot, who's done some fantastic pieces for our website, says Brentford is a huge test. yeah, completely agree with you, mate. Completely agree. It's a big game on Tuesday night. Agree with you, Rudy. Thought Kong did well. Paritza right wing is OP. I tell you what, he caused a lot of problems, and certainly that's something for Vladimir Ivic to consider. If we've got Sar out, do we continue with the formation, play Paritza on the right, or do we? I prefer a 4-4-2 personally. I think Paritza is good in a two up front. But certainly that's an option going forward that we can chuck him in at right wing and he can do a job. Yeah, sorry, Kieran. Next time I will do that. Can you add this on your story so we know when we're going live? I will promise to do that next time. You can watch it back, but I completely understand if you want to watch it live. Next time I will do that. Matt 2890. Do you think the guy who was sent off for the penalty, do you think he should have been sent off before that tackle he did on James Garner? Yeah, it was a tasty challenge, wasn't it? I think it was. Yeah, I don't know. It was probably not enough for a sending off. It was probably an orange, yellowy orange. I don't think it was enough for a sending off personally. I'm loving the championship this season. What a set of results today! Has been some crazy results, hasn't there? Cohen says, how did Ivic get manager of the month? I'm not Ivic out, but it wasn't his best month with us, probably the worst. But this is the thing. I think as Watford fans, we're watching the games and looking at it going, we are not playing well. We're not. But from Ivic's perspective, he's probably thinking, I've set us up compactly. We've gone away. We've won 1-0. That's probably job done for him. And I get where he's coming from. Whether he thinks this squad isn't able to play another way is an interesting perspective. Whether he thinks this is the way we have to win away from home. I believe we can play better football than we are at the moment, but we've managed to pick up a win on the road. We struggle on the road for sure. I definitely feel the performances can improve, particularly away from home. I've said it numerous times this season now, as has every Watford fan. But yeah, it's an interesting one with him because, as I said, on the surface, 11 points out of 15 in November, manager of the month form. I don't think there's any arguments about that, but the way we've got those points hasn't been manager of the month worthy. I think that's probably the fair way to describe it, but points over performances, I guess, from his perspective. Matt 2890. Do you think the guy who's I've just read that one, sorry. Bournemouth, Norwich, Brentford play more attractive attack football, and because of that they will finish ahead of us, in my opinion. Yeah, an interesting take. Pascal, is that how you pronounce your name? I do apologise if I butchered that. Bournemouth, Norwich and Brentford definitely play better football than us at the moment. But ultimately, we're still in the promotion hunt. So until we drop off the results, then I can't really complain. And I've said that numerous times. But Cardiff, yes, we were poor that day. And I think it's absolutely fundamental that we score the first goal in games. If we don't, we struggle. But we've managed to pick up points. We're grinding out results. It's not pretty to watch. Absolutely agree with everyone who's saying that. We were absolutely awful for the first 45 minutes, pretty much the first 70 minutes. We grew into the game and shaded it, I thought, in the second half. We looked the more likely to score in the second half. I think Birmingham didn't really test us. But, yeah, it's another 3 points to the board. It's a weird feeling because I'm absolutely buzzing that we've got the result, but the manner in which we've done it almost... it just doesn't. It's not as. What's the word? I just think we could play a lot better. Yeah, that's very much. It's a big win today. We can play a lot better. We move on to Brentford in the week. But I think that's pretty much where I'm going to wrap it up. I think I've covered everything. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. If you did enjoy the live stream, please do leave a like. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jacob_Culshaw in the bottom left-hand corner if you want to follow me there. If not, you can follow our Twitter and Instagram at WD18fans, which I'll make sure to do a little notification when we're going live for next time. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to WD18. Thank you so much for joining me today. And we will see you back for a match reaction after the Brentford game, hopefully again after a Watford win. Cheers, guys. Take care.